Good morning. It's Tuesday, I'm way ahead of myself. June 25th, and I wanted to come out and get a video and show all the changes in the yard since I was out before. And I'll start over here. I'm in the little yard, and as you can see, the peonies are all done. The medium season ones are done over here and have been cut back, deadheaded, and these are the wild peonies, and they're making seed pods, which I will leave on them to mature so I can get seeds out of them. I'm going to collect seeds from these, and I would like to plant them around the yard because they're really beautiful, and the bees, especially the carpenter bees, love them. But anyway, so here's the little bed that's on the other side of the deck, and these daylilies will start blooming pretty soon. And there's tall phlox over there that blooms later in the season and behind the peonies. And the lavender is just starting to get ready to bloom. It's not blooming yet. And this used to be, over here, there used to be nothing but lavender. It was just solid and it was just stunning. And then a couple of winters ago we had quite a bit of snow, and I jokingly called it the glacier that formed in the middle of it, but it suffocated and broke the lavender over here. So it's now several plants and is more opened up in the middle. And I usually stick zucchini in here, or as you can see, kale is going to seed. But anyway, it's getting ready to bloom, and the pollinators will be very grateful for that. They love it. This is when I see a lot of little skipper butterflies, which I adore. So anyway, here's the bed on the other side of the deck and the progression it's in. This is the time of year that, even though there are flowers, it's very different than spring blooming. And as Tom likes to say, nothing says midsummer like daylilies. And they're not open yet because the sun isn't on them, but they're pretty loaded, and they'll be really beautiful this year. And they go over behind the pond and behind the privacy screen there. And for anybody who doesn't know, they're called daylilies because they only bloom. Each bloom is good for only one day. So we treasure them while they're open. You can also eat the flowers. They're super high in vitamin A. But as you can see, the Judy flowers are starting to appear. That's not their real name. A friend of mine got them from a friend of hers named Judy, so that's what we still call them. And the milkweed is starting to come on a little bit, and those are lamb's ears that are blooming. The bumblebees really like that. Again, here's the sage blooming, and the beds are getting emptied of their spring flowers, but they're coming on with their more summer blooms. And the sun is hitting my phone here, so let me step down out of the way so that I can get a little better coverage. But there's a tea rose blooming back in there, and mullein, another thing that people consider a weed, gets to grow freely in this yard because mullein plants itself where the soil needs healing, and so we leave it so it can heal the soil, and whoever wants to pollinate it can do so. That's salsify gone to seed there. The red over here is Lychnis in the planter pot. And again, more daylilies up in the raised pond bed behind the pond. And there's kind of a succession of colors of those. The ones over here closer to the house are red, and they're the last ones that bloom. These up here are the ones that almost everyone thinks of when they think of daylilies. They're just the really traditional daylily. And then these down here, those are Stella Odoro daylilies, and they rebloom, not as prolifically as they are now, but they do rebloom later in the year. And again, some more milkweed. This is a Rudbeckia daisy starting to come on. It's the first one over here in this part of the yard that's opening. And the big accomplishment for this week was the arbor for the blackberry. and we don't have to duck to go under or get snagged even if we duck. And Tom put this together. This was the arbor that Nancy gave us that was all broken into pieces, and so he put a piece here for this side, and then over on this side he put another piece, and then it had these just single pieces, and he ran those across the top for support and another little brace across for there. So it's really nice to be able to walk under, and I think it will let some more light in here because, as you can see, stopping right at the arch are a lot of the sun-loving things, yarrow and feverfew and the Judy flowers and the lamb's ears. They all kind of stop on this side of the archway because the sun gets blocked by the blackberries. So now it's more open, and I'm really going to be interested to see how that affects other things under here. And fall asters on the right, and of course that's the gooseberry. This guy I salvaged from the pheasant pen. The pheasants had it chewed down to nothing, and I really didn't know if it was going to live, and I thought, well, I'm digging it up, I'll bring it out here, and if it makes it, it makes it. And it is absolutely thriving, probably the happiest guy out here. So, and the rhodio's done. It's time to deadhead that and climb into the bed and clean this bed up. And I've been working on cutting back all of the Dame's Rocket and a lot of the Honesty plants as far as that goes. And you can see what I was talking about in one of my earlier videos. It's like it gets really green and fills in, but there's a lot less blooming and flower show in here. This is another little daylily, a dwarf daylily. It has a companion one over there. I cannot remember what the name of it is called, but they're red, and they bloom later in the season. The red ones bloom later, so anyway, I'm really looking forward to those. And I still have, back over here, have to go back. Courtney and I went to a nursery up in Springfield years and years ago, close to her, and we picked up some specialty daylilies that the person who owned the nursery, who I don't know if he's still around, he bred daylilies, and so they had this sale where they were selling some of the ones that were the in-between ones when he was breeding them. And those bloom not prolifically because it's not the same climate for them, but they do bloom, and I really treasure those every year. Another mullein. The lone flower on the mock orange back here, I think when it gets a little bit filled in more up here at the top, I think it'll bloom better. It does get quite a bit of shade from the maple tree above it. And of course the cherry tree and filbert across from it. But this little guy, when my neighbor Tony gave him to me from the native plant sale here in town, he was only about 6 inches tall, and that wasn't all that many years ago. And anyway, he's very happy. And just a quick spin over here. So the kale is all down, and this is the feverfew coming on. There's a rose behind that, a peace rose. Unfortunately, most of the peace blooms, no matter how much I cut back my roses, like to go right up into the grape, and I don't get to enjoy them. So I'm glad this one is poking out so I can enjoy it. The raspberries are going to be coming on pretty soon. We've got lots of raspberries formed on here. I think there's one on the other side that's actually starting to turn red. And then this bed, which was completely packed full of Dame's Rocket and Honesty plants. I've been in here clearing a lot of those out and taking them down now that they're done, and opening this up so that the strawberries in here can get some air, and they're starting to bloom and put a few berries on now, a little later than usual, but because the other things were crowding them. So again, a lot of things that are not in bloom, things that are not quite yet in bloom, but mullein towering up there. Anyway, this is kind of where things are right now. honeysuckle is still going strong. It's a wonderful scent to walk out here in the morning too. It just fills this part of the yard with its scent. And I've noticed that, hi Panther Pants, y'all done getting your drink in the greenhouse, kid? This is not my cat. This is kind of our neighborhood kitty, and he shows up frequently every day, a couple times a day, and he loves drinking out of the little water feature in the greenhouse. So I always open the door for him so he can get in there. But anyway, I've tried to plant so that we have scent, wonderful scent through the yard throughout the year, and it's like we get it, you know, it's like with the honeysuckle we get that, with the roses over in the other yard, between the yards, that we get that wonderful smell. The grapes are in bloom, we can smell those right now. There's quite a few things, and the peonies smell really wonderful too. This one did not do as well this year as far as blooming. The plant looks great, but it is not prolifically blooming as usual. I added another whiskey barrel for a tomato out here, and I am trying to utilize space that I have. And you know, this area isn't really a good area for doing raised beds because it's so dry. That's a good thing to do in areas that are wet because then you get better drainage. But the problem here is that there are so many roots in the yard now that you can't really dig. So raised beds are the way that we go here, and especially any place that we've had prolific creeping bellflower, because they'll come up through stuff. So we've done that too. Just a turn around and a shot back at the house and the archway. You can see how much things have filled in and how thick everything is at this point. My rhubarb almost looks like that, what do they call it, dinosaur plant? Anyway, I have been working. I worked on clearing out the bishop's weed over here to give things some room, but it's quickly filled in again, so I'll have to be in here again doing that. And I tried a video when the sun isn't out because it just washes everything out, but I wanted to get out here and get a video to everybody. There's the grape filling in back, and the cherry, another cherry tree. That's another Stella cherry tree. But it's really getting that was thistle. It's getting pretty thick in here, which is good. We need the shade in this heat. I moved a window box from over by the shop. It just cooks over there. It's not doesn't have enough depth and mass to really hold water to be up in the air and in the sun like that so much. So it's going to get a new home. I just don't know where that's going to be yet. And but I was cutting, harvesting, sorry, just went blank. I shut the phone off accidentally and lost my train of thought. Anyway, I was out harvesting alfalfa in the alley, and it took longer than I thought. And so the sun is really out here now, and I really didn't want to film with it up. But there's the buckets of alfalfa and Panther Pants again. Anyway, I won't be able to show you over here, I think, because of the sun glare. But anyway, everything is really filling in well and getting nice and thick for summertime. And there are some nice things blooming, but other things are slowing down and finishing up, and definitely midsummer around here. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of an update, and the yard. There's looking back through the blackberries over to the little house. I'm really grateful for all this cover in this heat. That's one thing I have to say, and I really want to show it to you, but I think the sun is gonna be a problem. Well, I love you guys. See you later.